Our guest today has one foot in data and the other in discovery. Arissa Bahari is an AI educator and data scientist who's redefining what it means to learn, teach, and lead in a world changing faster than ever. From building her first AI projects during university to running workshops for senior citizens in Sabah, Arissa's story is more than just technology. It's about empowerment. She's living proof that you don't have to wait until you're ready to start. You just have to start and learn along the way. In this conversation, we explore what it means to pivot before you have it all figured out, how teaching became her unexpected calling, and why trying and failing is one of the most underrated career skills of all. My name is Nancie Saw, and I'm joined with my co-host, Jonathan Chu. This is Arissa's story, a story about experimentation, empathy, and the courage to keep showing up. Welcome, Arissa. How are you today?
Hi, Nancy. Hi, Jonathan. I am well. I'm excited. I'm so happy to be here on the PivotLab Podcast.
We are happy to have you as well. So, before we start, I want to just say a huge congratulations on winning on the first place at the Lovable Hackathon. Yay! You could tell us a little bit about Mari Membaca first. What is it and who is it for?
Okay, sure. So, thanks so much for the introduction, Nancy. So, it all started last October, I think on 18th of October. All the AI teams, in KL, the AI community groups created the Building for Good hackathon with Lovable. So I won first place, woohoo, and I won with my app called Baca Bersama. So Baca Bersama is an application designed for 4 to 6-year-old children to help them learn to read, because we understand those years are the key years for them to learn literacy skills, in recognizing letters, reading words, reading sentences at good level. But what I found prior to the hackathon was that most apps were created in either English or Bahasa Indonesia, but none were actually created for the Bahasa Malaysia market, which is quite a shame given our rich language and how important our language is, in navigating our day-to-day lives. So that's why I decided to come up with the Baca Bersama app. And the app is designed with the focus of learning via phonics. So phonics is understanding how each individual letter sounds, and then so you're able to join words. When we grow up, learning BM in Malaysia, at least when I was growing up, it was more of learning via memorizing syllables, right? A, Y, M, yam, I, yam. But then that's why we get situations where I had a cousin when she was young. She used to say, because she's just trying to memorize things instead of, actually learning to read. So why don't we change that approach and make it very much more phonics informed, We actually teach students how the words sound, how letters sound out by themselves, and how they sound together when they match with words. So if you see the letter B, it's B, and then B-A, ba, it B-A, ba, that sort of thing. So yeah, that was the whole inspiration behind the app. And the idea is for it to be, our own learning literacy app for young kids at both, for them to learn and for also parents to monitor their usage as the days progress and as they use the apps. Because kids these days are very digital literate. They know how to use phones. They know how to search for things, basically when they're born, whether that's a good thing or not. Even though they have digital literacy, doesn't necessarily mean they have actual literacy, the most important skill we need in our day-to-day life to learn to read. So that was the whole idea behind my Baca Bersama app. And currently, it's been about a month since the Lovable competition. And what I've been doing is working closely with the organization that was there to share, which is My Readers organization. I've met with them a few times to discuss, to understand further about the development of the app, how it would look like, as well as even attending a workshop session with them to understand, okay, these are how 4-year-olds learn. So I understand, okay, they don't really have necessarily long attention spans, which is understandable. They they memorize the letters. We were learning vowels at that time, A-E-I-O-U. So understanding how they learned from that, how they were able to match different letters with pictures, like, is for ayam, matching the picture of a chicken to the letter A, so on and so forth. So it's a good, understanding to better inform how I develop the app moving forward.
Thank
Nice.
you. So, how did you or what are the challenges that you faced while you were building this app, like during
Okay.
the hackathon?
Okay, I would say the biggest challenge was sort of in a way trying to come up with an app that was both friendly for both the students, so i.e. the children, as well as the parents. Because on the children's side, we want to make it a fun app for them to learn, right? Because if they're just going to learn via rote memorization, they're not going to have a good time. So that was one challenge, I guess, how to build actually curriculum that's fun for them, where they would be interested to learn from. And then from there, I sort of realized that, if they're 4 years old, if they already don't know how to read, if I give them an instruction, how are they going to understand what the instruction's saying if they can't read yet, right? So that's when I decided we have to add this feature, that sort of thing. And then, of course, from there, it's also creating a dashboard that helps inform parents of, okay, these are actually the metrics my child has learned, the words that they've learned this week. These are the metrics they've reached, these are areas of where they can improve in the future, that sort of thing. So I guess that was the main challenge. And of course, the time constraint. I think we only had about 4 hours to create the app. And yeah, 4 hours isn't a long time, especially when you have a lot of ideas running in your head. I remember telling my mom, I think during the entire event, like up until the submission, I only got up once to get lunch and I just didn't get up at all.
Oh, you were so into
You were
building the
into it.
app.
I was
Yeah.
so into it. I was working really, really hard on the app. Yeah.
But did
So,
you have the idea beforehand, or did you just came up with it during that session itself?
Okay, so for me, I actually had the idea beforehand. It came about 1 month before the Lovable Hackathon. So that is, let's say, I would say mid-September. So I came across this post on Reddit of a lady based in the US talking about how her 14-year-old stepdaughter couldn't read. And she was saying how, she can recognize letters, but it's like maybe she'll see the word pasta. She'll read the first two letters. She can recognize pa. But after that, she doesn't know what's going on, how to connect those words with other letters, in that word to read the full pasta word out loud. So she'll start guessing. Maybe she'll say plane, porch, that sort of thing, because she doesn't understand what she's reading. And despite the mom saying how, she was doing her best, she sent her daughter for literacy classes. They got her checked out, if there were any mental health issues or if she had learning disability. And she was doing her best. But, at 14 years old, this child still couldn't read, despite being a very confident child. But if you're not able to read, of course, that holds you back a lot in life. Because once we can read, it's kind of hard to stop
Yes.
reading. Right. I open my eyes, like it or not, I can understand, read and understand every word that's, right in front of me. So it's a basic skill, but it's a lot goes into it. A lot more went into it than I realized. So that's when I decided to talk to my sister, who's an early childhood educator. So she works with kids who are, from baby 6 months old all the way to 6 years old. And she's a really large part in their development of their literacy skills. So she teaches them, not only the letters, how to sound them out, but also they have a lot of story times. Her reading the stories to them just to inculcate, to pupuk that reading, habit, to reading nature to them. So I asked her opinion on how she would, design a curriculum, design a course for this. And she said, I will probably go through a phonics-based approach because that's what we teach very young kids, how to learn how to read, understanding the letters, what they look like, and also how they sound. So that's where the idea of the app came from. I'm kind of, how to say, I'm very lucky that they had a whole youth literacy track during the Building for Growth competition. So of course, this app really aligned with that youth literacy track. And yeah, that's what I would say. So I came in, I guess, with a bit of an edge because I knew what I wanted to do.
exactly.
I wanted to use that time to really develop it, bring it from at least 0 to some working prototype, 0 to 1 at least, Okay. So if you go to the Lovable, the Lovable website for the app, for the Baca Bersama app, right now it's still the same. To be very fair, I haven't found, for this past 1 month, I really haven't found the chunk of time to work on it. But I'm taking a whole week of leave next week. So that's when I'll be focusing very heavily on the app. So I think the biggest, I would say, change or understanding, especially attending this workshop, is by how to say, understanding that how kids learn best is really through a lot of fun. So one of the person I'm working with my readers, she actually mentioned that, previously when there was a session where she taught once where, it was more of a rote memorization thing, unfortunately. So because of that, the at the end of the day, the child was like, "Oh, I just want to be able to go home." They're just like,
Mm.
"Okay, I'm quite done with this. I want to go home." But at the end of the session, when she asked, "Oh, can you recognize this letter? This letter which they were learning throughout the entire past hour, they couldn't." And that was a slightly older child already in primary school. But what I could see from the workshop that I attended that with my readers is that it's a very fun based learning. That learning is based in a lot of fun and a lot of different activities to make it joyful for the students. So, what do I mean by that? It's not just going to a class and memorizing, let's say, oh, this is J, and then just writing up the letter J multiple times. Yes, they do that, they have it for their homework. But during the class session itself, it's a lot of songs. It's a lot of
Sorry, it's a
games,
lot of what?
a lot of songs. So songs that they made. So let's say with the with the letter U. So they made a song, with and also some hand gestures of like maybe for ubi or ula, ulaps. That sort of thing. So all the kids were having fun singing. So that's something that what I learned that, oh, okay, it really can't be the rote memorization way. It has to be a lot of fun for the kids so they enjoy learning. So that later on, when they start learning to read and being able to read at a high level, they enjoy the process of reading and understanding information as well. So that's one thing. Fun-based learning, that's what I learned. Another thing is, I guess, how much reinforcement is necessary for kids to be able to retain the information. And let's say if we're learning the letter U, right? They have to learn about that letter during the class and maybe even back home. They have maybe some homework to do. Beyond that, it's you can learn the letter U in a lot of fun ways. Maybe you can make it a tactile thing. So it was a physical workshop. So what they did was, they glued a bunch of fuzzy small balls to an outline of the letter U. And they drew a snake and then drew the letter U as the scales, many, many, many times. So it was a fun experience for them. Yeah, a lot of reinforcement, but a lot of positive reinforcement, fun-based reinforcement. That's a key thing to incorporate into the app. Yeah.
So I guess like the challenge would be because it's a lot of tactile based activities, right? So it's like
Yes.
incorporating that into like a screen. Like
Yes,
right.
that's
That
true.
is
I
the
think that's a
challenge,
very
right?
big thing. Yes, that's true.
Mm.
Because let's say tracing the letter U with a pencil, you need that hand-eye coordination, how to grip the pencil is a
Mm.
one. That's something that we as kids have to
Mm.
learn trial and error as well, right? Tracing the letter U on a screen with a finger is very different from tracing it with a pencil.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, that's something that's also, I would say, the planning stages. Yeah, that's a big consideration to make when, creating the app.
Because I was just thinking like, just now when you were talking about the kid who's 14 years old and do not know
Mm,
how to read, like
yeah,
I could resonate with that because my students as well, they can't read.
I see.
So probably my question to you is, will you consider building after you're done building this app for the kids? Will you consider building another app for older kids who have literacy problems or challenge?
I would definitely say yes, because, when I found that Reddit post initially and then thinking of how to build it, it was really like, oh, when once I built this app, it's also not just making it accessible to kids, but also for older readers. Because, imagine if you're 13, 14 years old, you still can't read that well. But if you go and tell your teachers or you tell your friends, there's a fear of judgment, right? Maybe the teacher will, will scold you, or your friends will, make fun of you. So what are you going to turn to? If
Yeah.
you don't practice yourself, you want to improve, but you don't know where to go. So a great feature that eventually I do want to implement is also making, how to say it, stories in the app as well. So
Mm.
yeah, what I think a great feature would be is to learn by a story as well. So maybe if you're a 14-year-old and you have trouble reading, maybe your reading level is, let's say, for example, at a 7-year-old's reading level. So a great tool to incorporate, a great feature to be incorporated as well is if you could read, let's say, we got AI to generate a story that is at a 14-year-old's emotional level, let's say, what they can understand emotionally, but at that 7-year-old reading level. So it doesn't have to be everything about, oh, Jack and Jill went up the hill.
Yes.
There's It's more of a story for 14-year-olds, but then
Yes.
Correct.
simpler
Correct.
for them to understand. Yeah. Because I can't imagine how isolating it can feel, right? When you're
Yeah.
not able to read and you want to learn to read, but of course, you're a teenager. You may have that pride and ego of, oh, I'm not going to read something for 5-year-olds, right? That's
Mm.
like
Exactly.
beneath me, even though I want to. And it's embarrassing too. Like, I get
Yeah.
it. So that's why, a feature I was thinking of implementing is, getting, let's say, for example, AI to generate that, how to say, appropriate. So the story will be at your reading level, but age appropriate. Yeah.
I will be checking in
Yes. That would be
consistently.
Don't
good.
pressure, no.
Pressure is good. Pressure is good.
I'll be checking in consistently. Like, Arissa, when are you going to create an app for the youth, for teenagers? Because I really need to use it.
Understandable. Yeah.
Yeah. But thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
no
really
worries. No
excited.
worries.
So looking forward to that. Yeah, Arissa.
I am looking forward to it too. I finally have a free week next week. So I told everyone, don't catch on me. I'm just going to stay in my room the whole week working on this, focusing on building this app. Yeah.
But did you
Yes.
have like a deadline? Because now are you like collaborating with my readers, like
I
working on
would,
something?
we're collaborating in the sense of, how to say it, in a way like mutual feedback, in the sense where, okay, so this is what I'm doing, this is my idea. And they're like, okay, this is based on our experience for teaching to children this range, that sort of thing. So right now, I'm not a volunteer with my readers, but I'm working with some staff there with my readers on how to get their insights as well.
Okay.
Nice.
So I'm sure that the listeners will be very curious. What's your background like? So we're going to talk a bit of what you're currently doing, and
Mhm.
also we'll talk about the different hats that you're wearing. So what are you currently working as or doing?
So currently, I am an AI trainer at SG Academy. So what I'm doing is I am running our AI training programs, both programs that are, under grants, as well as our programs that we have in collaboration with the United States AI Institute. So previously, I was the AI program coordinator and trainer. So in that role, I juggle a lot of hats, managing multiple batches at the same time while also teaching. And now I'm focused solely on trading. And I would say it's been quite a fun experience,
Mm.
being a trainer, because I've had quite a few good opportunities. So back in August, I actually taught a 4-day AI training program for senior citizens in Sabah. And that was a wonderful experience, as I think not only it opened my eyes, but it opened their eyes to AI, because I came in with the assumption, that they already know what ChatGPT is. So when I referenced ChatGPT in that first hour of talking, I could see that, oh, they weren't quite sure what I was talking about. So that's when I decided, okay, let's switch gears. Let me actually show you. Let me ask, okay, who here has heard of ChatGPT? If you haven't, it's okay. Let me show you what ChatGPT looks like. So we asked it a lot of questions in both English, bahasa, Sabahan dialects, and all, and it was able to answer. So they were amazed at it. Also, I think when they learned a lot, about the world. There's a whole world of AI right now, and AI can do a lot of things. But
Mm.
it may affect them in some ways, it may affect them in other ways, but that's when they were able to, I guess, understand that, AI is out there. We can also use it. We can ask ChatGPT stuff. We can create our own videos. But also, here's some ways that AI might impact us and how we can mitigate ourselves from that. So yeah,
Right.
teaching senior citizens, whole new experience, whole new fun experience as compared to teaching professionals as they are already used to using AI tools.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was just I wanted to ask you that question, like what's the difference, between teaching
Mm,
a normal group of your students, probably
mhm.
young adults or professionals, versus
Yeah.
teaching senior citizens? Like, what are the things that you find different or surprising,
Mm,
or like,
mm.
oh, you didn't know that it's like that? Yeah, maybe you
Okay.
can share.
I would say for a younger audience, of course, compared to senior citizens. So I've mostly taught professionals, young professionals, either students. And it's more of we talked a lot about understanding, how you can use AI to your advantage. Like perhaps what are the best prompt engineering tips? What are the
Mm.
best ways you can utilize different AI models? What's the best ways that you can use different AI tools beyond ChatGPT into your workflow so you can accelerate your productivity, accelerate your life, the usual terms you hear about AI. So it's
Yeah.
more of that because we take it for granted that all professionals at this point, more or less, if they don't use AI, the very least they know about AI and what it can do, especially generative AI. But when teaching to a group or the group of senior citizens who I think all ran from either 60 or 65 years old all the way to like 75, 78 years old. So for them, it was a total different perspective in a sense where they weren't really, for many, they didn't realize that, generative AI was a thing, that all these AI models that can create text, that can create images with things. So it's opening up their eyes to that, number one. But also, number two, I learned a lot on their perspective once they understood what AI could do. Because for them, they say, even though AI can draw this picture for me, to me, it doesn't mean much because AI doesn't have a heart. It doesn't have
Mm.
feelings. It doesn't understand, It may be able to draw, but it's not able to understand what I'm trying to say. So when I had a session asking them about, let's try and compare different AI answers for philosophical questions or some brain teaser questions, in the end, it was less talking about the AI's answer of the questions, and they were debating what their answers of the questions would be. So that was
Oh,
quite fun because it was related to like horse racing, horse betting. So everyone was quite, they were
see?
quite invested. Yeah, all the uncles, aunties, they're like, no, in my idea, I think this horse would have won. And I'm
So
like,
they were
okay,
basically
not really related.
debating with the ChatGPT.
Yeah, debating with ChatGPT, but also with each other and going against all the other AI models' answers because we were comparing 6 different models, ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and then they were like,
Wow.
"Oh, DeepSeek's answer is wrong because I think this horse would have won instead," that sort of thing.
Love it. Love
Yeah,
it.
really love it. Then love their perspectives. And yeah, there's a lot more to life beyond AI. And it's very true, right? And AI doesn't have a heart, it doesn't have a soul. That's why sometimes we look at these generated texts and think that's why we can know it's AI because
Yeah.
they're so soulless.
So any
Love
chance,
it.
like, did they share what they're going to use AI for, like after they've learned it? Or they didn't?
That's
They
a
were just debating the whole time.
that's a good question. I'm still in the WhatsApp group with them, but I haven't been able to chat with them recently.
Mm.
But I showed them how to create a few AI videos and a few
Mm.
images, ChatGPT things. So I'm sure there's a lot of that going on because yeah, in one video that someone created, they even created a 5 to 10 second scene of someone eating in Sabah, and a few different people, a few different characters and how that scene would look like. It was a very descriptive prompt they gave, so it gave a very good video. So I'm pretty sure quite a number of people are working on that.
Right.
Nice. Nice.
So I'd like to pick your brain on this. Like, how do you
Yes.
prepare yourself, like when you are preparing for your training, right?
Yes.
how do you process it? Like, okay, this audience, this is how I'm gonna do it. But like, can you walk us through your thought process on that? Because it's
Okay.
different audience, right? So the
That's
preparation will
true.
be different also.
Yes, that's true. So the first for me, of course, in understanding who my actual audience is,
Mm.
because I know that preparing training slides, for example, for a group of senior citizens is very different from young professionals. So yeah, that's number one. Understanding your audience is number one. And for me, number two, it is understanding how I can adapt the activities that I've planned out for the day to these different groups. So those are the two big things for me, because while I may use a rather standard set of slides that I've created myself, to be fair, it's understanding how I can adapt the material and the activities to be relevant to my audience. So to give a bit of context, I used the same set of slides for the senior citizens that I taught and a group that I taught maybe 2 months earlier that was for students for people aged 17 years old to about 50 years old. So that
Mm.
second group knew a lot more about AI than, of course, the senior citizens did. But for the second group, the 17 to 50-year-old participants, for them, I added a whole new section because they were interested to learn all about the different uh, processes of an AI project or a machine learning project, for example. So what are the key skills you need to know for that? But then when I went to the senior citizens one, even though I had those same slides, I hid all of them. I threw them out in a way from my slides because I know that's not totally relevant. And I
Mm.
don't want to, teach them something that one, may be a bit boring, but also two, they might not be interested in. But we use the same skeleton, we use the same framework, but being adaptable on what activities different people can do, that's the best way.
Okay, what helped you to know how to adapt? Like, is it based on your experience, or you just like you observe and then you sort of like know roughly and then you just plan based on that? Or like if let's say I am
Mm,
imagine I am the one who's going to do the training, and
okay.
I don't know, like, okay, I'm so used to teaching this group, but it's just like, how do you get the idea of how to teach? Like what were the processes like when you are planning?
Okay, when I
If my
am planning,
question
that's
is,
actually a very good question. So that's a good question. So I would say a big part is experience. So, well, of course, it's been 1 year that I've been a trainer. It doesn't compare to someone with, 20 plus years of experience. But after some time, you do a bit of trainings, you can sort of gauge the different personalities and interest levels of the students. Because the great thing about it is I've been doing a lot of face-to-face trainings. So because of that, you can directly see on people's faces. It's a real-time information on how they're taking your teachings, everything that you were teaching them. So that, I think, informs a lot. But the other part of it is actually talking to students and asking, hey, what would you actually like to know? Like when you come out of this 5-day program or 3-day, 4-day program, 5-day program, what would you actually want to know? Or what set of skills would you want to come out with? So I have that conversation with them in the first class because we have a whole icebreaker session, and that guides me and that informs how I can maybe tweak or adjust the rest of my training for the next few days.
so the feedback was like straight away during the ice breaking,
Yes,
not after. So do you do like
yes, that's
before and
true.
after as well?
So I do the ice breaking, of course, before the start of the session. But at the end of the classes, I would say there's not really a ice breaking talking to each other session. But it's more of people giving their feedback or, how if they found this class fun and they're like, oh, I like learning this, that sort of thing. But that ice breaking on that first day is really important. We can't I really don't recommend going into it just teaching without getting to know your students, as you are missing a lot of context from them.
So Pivot Lab was built because we wanted to highlight, especially to non-tech professionals, that even though
Mm,
you're non-tech, as how the world is evolving,
yes.
learning about AI is possible. right? No matter what background you're from, it is possible that you can learn that tool, master it, and more importantly, apply to whatever background and expertise that you may have. So for an expert like yourself who teaches AI, right?
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for our listeners who may fall into a few categories? Category one would be, oh, I'm interested to learn about AI, but I don't know where to start,
Okay.
right? Um, the second group could be like, AI seems so scary, so intimidating. I don't really know where to start. So for this group of people, or maybe even the third group, right, who may feel that I'm worried about my job. I
Yes.
don't know how long I can stay here in this role. Will I be fired? Will I be laid off? Lots of this kind of questions that may run through their mind. So for our listeners, right, what's your advice for them given all that you have seen?
Okay, that's a very good question. For me, based on my experience, what I've seen, the most important thing to know is that while AI may not necessarily take our jobs, people who know how to use AI will be the
Mm,
one who'll be taking our jobs. So it
mm,
may not come in a whole, fight, people do a large layoff and then they rehire some people. Not necessarily, but if we don't upskill, we will be left behind. So I like to think of AI literacy that employers will have an expectation that, their staff are AI literate just as much as we are Word literate, using Microsoft Word or Microsoft
yeah,
Excel.
100%.
Maybe before using Excel was a total skill. And to be fair, it is. Excel still scares me a bit to this day. I would rather code than use Excel, honestly. At this point, if I write in my CV that, I know how to use Word, PowerPoint, Excel, like it's not really a big differentiator because the expectation is that everyone knows how to use them. What I see the most in the future is that AI literacy will be just as expected as Microsoft, Word, PowerPoint, Excel literacy is. Because I read recently that now even product managers are expected to know how to use all these different no-code AI tools such as Lovable to build at least a mock-up of their product. Maybe, of course, that might not be the final implementation, but perhaps something that would take a few days to build in Figma,
Mm,
prior, you can just build a very basic mock-up of it with Lovable, tweak it, and see how you can go from there. So a product manager who's empowered with AI, who can build AI mockups with no-code websites, is will likely have a stronger future, of course, than someone who may not be as AI literate.
mm,
Whether AI literacy or not, at the end of the day, for me, it still comes down to the knowledge you actually have in your subject. So
mm,
what do I mean by that? Right? Like if I don't know my field of AI that well as an AI trainer, I think at some point it will definitely show. Right? I can see that I'm an AI trainer, but if I go to the class and teach and I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm just reading from my slides. A lot of people can spot that and either they might leave you a bad review or they may not recommend you for teaching. So at the end of the day, I still have to know my field very well. Even if I can't recite every single thing from my head, I know the concepts well enough that maybe with a bit of studying, maybe an hour or two of studying, I can teach for a few hours for this topic. So that's the biggest thing. You still have to be good at your domain. You cannot export, all your thinking to ChatGPT. You can
yes,
use it as a tool to learn better. And I recommend people doing that, but
yes,
but you cannot export your whole entire thinking to it. Because if you do, you can feel your brain rotting. At least that's how it is for me. So I
yes.
use it's not just ChatGPT. I have way too much screen time. It was really a problem a while back. So it's come to the point where on my phone, not only do I have no social media apps, no Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. TikTok I deleted a long time ago because I know it's big,
Well done.
energy. This is for me because I know how addictive they are. So
Yeah.
to not be addicted, I preemptively throw them away and give a lot of friction to it. Yeah. So yeah, ChatGPT, yeah, even though it's so easy to just not think to ask ChatGPT to give you a whole maybe deck of slides, like you will be making yourself even more vulnerable to AI at that point. Your skills are still important. They're still very, you might think, my skills are really important, but are you a sociable person? Can you talk to others? Are you like maybe the light of the room, the social butterfly? That's a very big skill. Can you
Yeah.
convince, persuade others? That's a very big skill. Can you teach someone in a way that they understand? That's a big skill. So those are the things that AI can't take away from you. But you have to keep working at them and cannot exporting those skills to AI, because you just can't keep exporting those to AI. You still have to build them and work on them yourself. So that's a big thing. So learn the AI. So yeah, coming back to your question, John. So AI, at the end of the day, it's a tool. We can't, even though AI seems very smart, it's not smarter than a 5-year-old, right? And not even a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old even. A 2-year-old knows, like, is infinitely smarter than AI. And like AI models, generative AI models, especially like ChatGPT, seem very smart. But they are just mathematical models at the end of the day. They're just next word prediction models at the end of the day. Humans, we have all the other skills that AI does not. So if you're someone who is, who wants to learn about AI, but don't really know that, but how to say, who doesn't really know where to start, I guess the first big thing is asking yourself, what are the current, how to say, most annoying tasks in my life right now that I really wish I could automate? Maybe if you are someone who works in student recruitment. So I work at a college right now. So there's, a lot of my sales colleagues also are student recruiters. So when you're recruiting the students, of course, the most annoying thing is perhaps gathering all the documentation, right? Gathering and processing all the documentation. So that's a big pain point for them. So for yourself, it's trying to solve what that pain point is. So for me, it's trying to solve what that pain point is. Okay, I'm really lazy to do this, all this documentation. How can I make it, a smoother process so I feel less, I don't want to do this. So that's one thing. So finding your pain points and then starting the search from there. So it can seem overwhelming, but that's when you can maybe, watch a few YouTube videos or even ask AI on how you can improve that, improve that task. Yeah. Improve that pain point, yes, in a way, weaken that pain point. So for me, maybe a pain point for me is coming up with, every time. So to give a bit of context for my work, once every quarter or so, I have to host an event called an AI Masterclass where we invite, AI practitioners in Malaysia, top AI practitioners to come and speak at my AI Masterclass event. So finding people isn't the hard part because I'm in quite a few AI groups. So I just, I mingle with them. I'm like, hey, you want to be a speaker? And most of the time they're like, yeah, sure, no problem. So that part isn't hard. It's coming up with an idea for a poster is hard. So I don't know what an idea for a poster is. I just go to something like ChatGPT or Google's Gemini, Nano Banana, and say, hey, this is my theme. This is my ideas. Just show me a few generations of what a good poster would look like. So then from there, I get an idea and I build the poster myself. In the end of the day, I still build the poster, but that first part, if you don't have ideas, you can just ask AI to help you with that.
Nice.
Jumpstart the.
Yeah, jumpstarter first.
Yeah, there were so many points, like they were so good. I don't know, Nancy, you felt that because I could hear you thinking, right? Oh yes, I want my students to hear that
Yes,
from
correct.
Arissa.
I don't want to like interject, but at the same time, I'm like dying to like, yes, please tell my kids that too. Like I hope they're listening to this because like I could.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I've been telling my kids as well. Like what you talk about, like, know your domain. Like, yes, you
Yes.
can use AI, but at the end of the day, you still need to know the fundamental skills of
Exactly.
anything that you want to do. Like for now, they're studying. Okay, they're
Exactly.
learning. So obviously, your math skills, your sciences, you can't be asking ChatGPT to write your essay. Then how are you going to
Exactly.
like flourish your writing skills and like your math
Yeah.
skills? So yeah, so when you're talking about that brain rotting thing, I'm like, yes, that's for my kids. Yes, yes.
No, yeah, exactly. Because I mean, that's the scary part, right? Because a lot of students, at whatever level, unfortunately, at this point, whether they are at early high school, Form 1, Form 2 to SPM, and especially even college levels, you know, we've sort of outsourced, we've really outsourced our thinking to all these generative AI models, right?
Mm,
But that's scary because you're making the computer smarter by telling it how to think for you. So at the end of the
yeah,
day, what? You can't think for yourself. Even
yeah,
thinking about something, you get it wrong at first. At least you know you're starting somewhere. You can always improve. Like AI will always seem perfect. But you ask, so for example, right now, I asked ChatGPT, write for me an essay about, I don't know, structural engineering, for example, right? Who don't know anything about structural engineering, I'll look at it and say like, wow, AI is so smart. It's amazing what it can do. But what if, I submit it and turns out there's a key fundamental error it has there and I
yeah,
didn't know, so I just submitted it. Right. So of course, professor will know, then I'll get a bad mark and so on and so forth. Maybe you'll be expelled. Who knows? Yeah. But knowing your domain is honestly really, really a big key because like I mentioned, AI is just a tool that you can augment, that you can integrate in your life to make it better. But your domain knowledge is the most important thing. So I actually have a good story to share. So part of the
I love stories.
programs I run, yeah, thanks. So part of the programs I run, we made it a point. So I made it a point to implement in the programs that before you can sit for your AI exam, so this is the certified one with the US AII counterpart. But before you can sit for your exam, you have to do a project. And then most students are like, why? We don't need to do this project to sit for the exam. I'm like, no, you have to do this project so you can get your hands dirty. Even if you vibe code a project on Lovable, that's still doing something because you know what works and what doesn't work. You can read all you want, but
Our
if you
heads
don't
like
build, you
nodding
won't
like
know.
crazy.
So I know everyone is nodding like crazy right now. So we've done that for a few batches of our beginner and advanced program, and the results have been literally outstanding for me. For a beginner program, we had a student who is the structural engineer. So before he was saying he used to work hours and hours on, formulating a formula on Excel. But now with just basic AI skills he learned from the beginner program, he was able to create a structural engineering like calculator and with just a few clicks of a button, now he can, now he already knows the answer instead of spending hours
wow,
of building a formula on Excel. And he has that domain knowledge about what formula to actually build, what formula it's based on that I do. So he has the edge over me. So now he's using it in his structural engineering company because it's his company. And I have another student who just showcased their project on the masterclass, which was this past Saturday, about 2 days ago. So he is a pharmacist by trade, right? And now he's managing a few pharmacies. But so when I was asking him, what's your idea for his project? So he came up with a project called Mediscan, where where the AI can identify the pills, that you have. So why he came up with this project was because, as a pharmacist, you come in with patients, with customers saying that, hey, I need to refill this prescription. Then when they ask, oh, what prescription is it? A lot of the customers, especially older ones, will say, oh, I don't know, but this is what it looks like. So they hand them the pill. So as a pharmacist, they are, with a lot of training, of course, they're able to recognize what pill that is. But you pass me two pills, right? Maybe one is 500 mg, one is 1000 mg. I'll be like, I don't know what the difference
how would
is. To
we
me, they
know?
look the same. How would we know, right?
Yeah,
How would I know?
exactly.
But they know. So when I ask him, oh, how would you as a pharmacist know? They say, oh, we know by maybe the shape of the pill, the grooves on the pill, what lettering, numbering they have there. So that's a big pain point for him and his, and his colleagues and his staff. So what he did was he created this app that you can upload or take a picture of the medication you have. So that's either in a pill form or the blister pack form or in the packaging. And then it's able to analyze that pill's image and within a few seconds to 1 minute, give you all the medical information you need to know. Like what's the scientific name, what's the generic name, what are the contraindications, what are the risk factors, what are the dosage guidelines, so on and so forth. And and at the end, it was a chatbot where you can ask them all about this particular pill and, ask about all this particular medication and any questions you have with it. So now that AI tool is being deployed to his company, so many of his staff and his colleagues are already using that. So if a person comes in and say, hey, I don't know what this pill is, they can just scan and it works. And I tried it with a few different pills, that I have at home. Panadol, antihistamine. I tried it with a few. And I would say for all that I tried, it was able to guess very accurately. It was
Wow.
able to, guess all of them accurately. And he did it. And why it could guess so accurately? Because he had that domain knowledge. He knew where to find the database for those medications and include it. So he included the FDA, United States, Food and Drug Administration's database, as well as a local Malaysian drug database. So it can be a localized kind of thing. So that's why it's able to guess accurately. Yeah. So look at that, that domain knowledge, you just augment AI on top. So he joined from our beginner all the way to where he's to this advanced program. And now he's able to build a very, usable working app that impacts not just him, but everyone else in his company and of course his patients, his customers. So yeah, you don't have to be an expert in AI, but you have that domain knowledge is the most important thing. Augmenting AI with your domain knowledge, you can go so far. You can
wow,
go
fireworks.
very, very far. Oh my god, fireworks!
100%.
So just now when you were talking about assessment, right? Before
Yeah.
you shared your story, actually I wanted to ask you this question. Like, do
Mm.
you have during your training, do you have assessment that you need to give your students? So I think you have, right? The assessment.
Yes.
So then do you actually get to see how, I mean, do you get to design the assessment most
Okay,
of the time?
so for the project, for this final project they can take before the exam, I am the one who designs the projects. I'm the one who designs the project, the rubrics and all. But the actual final exam, that one, our US AII, United States AI Institute counterpart are the one who designs the exam. So for me, I design the project, they design the exam, but of course I guide them in how they can pass the exam. What are the ways they can study so they can pass the exam easier.
So just want to ask your opinion.
Yes.
Now you see all those exams that the students are taking, they're very conventional. They're very the way it is being asked, it is so AI friendly. What I meant by that is that you can just plug the question into AI and get the answers and then submit, right? So what do you think? How should assessment now look like or change or transform so that it is AI proof? They cannot, even if they use AI, they cannot bypass the thinking process. They still need the thinking process.
I will say this is sangatlah soalan cukup mas. This is a jackpot question. A very interesting question that I will have to give me a moment to formulate my thoughts. Okay. So I also follow a lot of AI educators online, especially LinkedIn, because I want to know how they integrate AI as well. So the question of students will always find a way to cheat. Number one, whether we like it or not, students will always find a way to cheat. You tell them don't use AI, they'll all use AI. The exam question, the answers will all probably look the same because everyone's asking AI the same questions. So that's one thing. So that will happen. It's so one perspective I've seen on it is an educator, I can't remember his name, based in the US, who designs a course to sort of teach students that, hey, AI isn't as smart as it seems. To sort of the courses, a big theme of the course is to disengage them a bit from AI. So he starts off the course with saying, hey, use ChatGPT to answer these questions. And then from there, they compare that, and they can see that, hey, actually, ChatGPT isn't actually that smart. It can't actually answer the question correctly, that sort of thing. That's number one. So if we can get students to realize that, hey, AI isn't totally accurate, you can't trust it 100% of the time. It may not even give you a good answer. That's one way. But I guess another thing is we probably have to go back to basics and say, in many ways, no more online exams. Get everything to be, in real life exams, right? Because yes, of course, standardized testing, there are lots of people for it, against it for their own reasons. But that is one way to test the students, because before, if everything's online, homework they bring back home so they can get us AI to write, and then they just copy it by hand what the AI has written for them. Having in-person tests does how to say is one way to be able to test them. But I think a good way to have it is probably, so for me, like, exams, do they still have a big place in our day-to-day life? Of course, yes. But project-based learning is another whole thing, which I think we should integrate a lot more, right? Which is why, for me, I integrated it for my students, because projects, not only do they teach you, hey, they give you a lot more experience than just memorizing can do, right? Memorizing for a test can do. But number two, what projects do is that they actually also build the resilience, in the sense where I have a project due, like for my students, they're like, I have a project due in 1 month. At the end, like whether I get AI to help me or not, if I don't want to submit it, if I don't submit it, at the end, nothing will be submitted. AI can do everything for you. They don't, but they don't submit. In the end, like, if you don't want to submit it, you still don't submit it, right? So it's projects I see are very much, how to say, process of, where you also build your resilience, because things, even if AI writes stuff for you, writes code or writes anything for you, it's not going to be correct 100% of the time, so it's going to fail. So it's like, okay, after that, it's okay, it fails. Now what? I've outsourced my thinking, and that thing cannot even think for me right now. So now what am I going to do? So I have to, I cannot give up. I have to continue it anyway. So I have to find ways to continue it. Yeah. So for me, I guess because, like, it is an AI course that I teach. These are AI certifications. I tell my students, like, at the end of the day, you can, like, I'm not going to stop you from using AI. I mean, it's an AI course. I can't stop you from doing it. Like, that's not my intention. But at the end of the day, you have to create something that will help you, if not anyone else, that will be beneficial for you, if not anyone else. Use AI to help you write code if necessary, but don't ask AI to give you that idea. Because if you're asking AI for ideas, that first step of the resilience part also that there, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. One thing that I thought of just adding to the list as well, that I've been experimenting, because right now I am massively hiring, and
Okay.
obviously we will have some sort of like assessment, right?
Yes.
And oh my God, I tell you, when we launched version 1 of the assessment, 19 out of 20 submissions were exactly the same. The
No
points,
way.
I tell you, my eyes were bleeding. I was like, why?
Oh my
Why
God.
are the answers exactly the same? The points are the same. The order of the points are the
Oh
same.
my God.
The phrasing is the same. The cover letters, I tell you, that's another one,
Oh my God.
right? The first sentence is always, I am very excited to apply for this role at your company. And then the next sentence, the format starts with X number of years in this field or with this experience, I bring ... Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So one experiment we did, which was quite interesting, is we gave them open-ended questions, and
Okay.
then we asked them to submit the chat that they prompted on ChatGPT.
Okay.
Yeah. So then you could see the ones who have more critical thinking, they actually do put in a little bit more effort to first be more descriptive. And second, they break down the issues a little bit more. And then the lazy ones, you can see them from the get-go. Copy
copy
semua
paste.
with the soul. Copy paste je. Now like, bro, why you do this, bro? Janganlah macam ni. Yeah. So that helped us like really to see who are the ones who are creative, who are the ones who are explored the problem, and who are the ones who just took the easy way out.
So, like, out of this, you gain another skill. You become the AI detector lah at the end of it.
Oh, I
You're
tell
like
you,
you read and then you're like, nope, this is AI, nope,
this
this is
is like
AI,
AI.
this is not human.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay. I mean, besides the, how to say, the points being the same at all and all, like, let's say even if maybe everyone used ChatGPT, right? Those 19 people use ChatGPT, for example. Let's say there's a 20th person who also used AI but not ChatGPT. Do you think you could still detect that it's still AI?
I cannot confidently answer you that right now.
Okay. Not
But what
okay.
I
Uh-huh.
noticed is that if I can't detect Claude as well,
Okay.
but Gemini, it has a very specific tone to it as well.
Yeah.
Unless they specifically prompt it to not sound like,
Yes.
either a formal research document. In which case,
Mm.
then you'll be like, oh, this person knows his tools. Right. I mean, if you're looking through the
Yeah.
chat, right? Yeah, this
I
person
thought
knows
they
his
would
tools.
always ask you like, okay, what tone would you want this to be written in?
Not necessarily, because
Yeah.
that's something you have to prompt the AI. So, for example, let's say John can give me let's say like he can give me the question. I can just copy paste, right, the answer, and it'll just give me a whole answer, which is probably as generic as it is, which he's seen a bunch of times.
Oh,
But for me,
interesting.
like sometimes I tell my AI that, okay, let's say I want to go the lazy route, but I want to work just 1% more. I'll just copy paste the John's question and be like, okay, ask me clarifying questions on how I want
Mm,
the end product to look like, the end output. So then AI sort of in a way picks my brain, and then it gives me an output which will be at least a bit different from that
Yep.
first very generic output.
Yep.
So some people don't even know that we can change the style, the tone, right?
Because
But
Most
yeah,
people don't know.
most
my
people don't know. Yeah.
ChatGPT would always ask me, what tone do you want me to write in?
You marah
Oh,
after
It
ChatGPT
will
until it
always
asks you questions ke?
yeah.
it will,
Maybe,
it will
maybe.
always ask me like, okay, what tone do you want me to write this in? Do you want me to write this in a friendly manner, or do you want me to write this in professional manner, or do you want me to write this in like turn angle, or like I don't know. So for me,
Interesting.
it's like that was new to me when you said that they actually don't prompt you, but my ChatGPT prompt
No.
me. Probably because could it be I've like use it from different point of view, like as a teacher, as
Yeah.
a like
Perhaps, very likely.
person, or like I know a
Yeah.
student, or what. So then it like cannot gauge like who are you now?
Yeah. Possibly, actually.
Very likely, because if you've told ChatGPT these things, it does have memory, so it can remember. So that's why it prompts you so that it knows what's done. But some people, they only just copy paste, and then just copy paste whatever prompt that comes out, and yeah, like they're happy with that.
Yeah.
Maybe because I
Mhm.
put like the role in front, like think of
Yes, the role is an important
as
thing.
what. Maybe that's why
A
they're
lot
like,
of
okay,
people
who are
don't
you
do
now? Who
that.
are you now?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So with this, right, I think let's do a recap, right? So
Yes.
Arissa, you have shared so richly about what you're currently doing. Also, what your side project, would you consider that a side project, right?
Yes, it's a side project, definitely.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit more about what's next for you. How about that?
Okay. Oh my God. Any
So,
questions? Okay.
yeah. Yeah, because I feel that what you have beautifully shared about tool usage, right? Right now,
Mm,
it's just a start, right? And
mm,
that you're drawing from the domain knowledge that you have, right?
mm.
And you're moving forward with the 1 week that's coming soon,
Yeah.
right?
Very soon.
So for somebody who has trained so many different people, and also somebody who has successfully gotten a lot of support for, your current app, right? What's next? What's the next adventure for you?
Okay. That's actually a very good question, because that's something that, to be very frank, I'm actually trying to figure out myself, right?
Mm,
So I would say so this is under the assumption that the app I'm already I will be working on it because I know I'm working on it next week. That's something that I do want to at least, it's a project that I'll have to put a lot into, but that's something I'm excited about, the Baca Bersama app, and then moving forward from then. But actually, beyond that, I'm someone who, I guess because I'm so young, I'm still in the process of discovering myself and also understanding what I want to do next as well. So that's my very honest answer. So I think I shared with you two recently that and even today I realized that, hey, I actually like teaching and I'm actually rather good at it, even though I've been doing it for this past 1 year and some stints prior. It's only recently that I realized, this is actually something that I enjoy and that I want to share with people. So it's working on. So one thing that I do want to look forward in the future is seeing how I can make teaching, how to say, into a more like beyond just my job, right? Yes, I do it for a living right now. How can I do it to help people, beyond just either a monetary gain or if it's something that I want to do on the side in the future, maybe if I change jobs, if I want to do this on the side in the future, how to integrate that, right? And how to support people with their, especially AI journey in the best way. So that's one. That's one I'm thinking heavily about. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing that I'm thinking about. Number two, I would say this next, I would say hopefully 5 years, it's more of understanding it will be, I know, a journey of really, really actually understanding who I am and what I want. So why do I say that? I say that because, I'm someone who's really grown up on the internet, 2000s. I was literally born in the year 2000. So as soon, I think, as started, I remember being 4 or 5 years old, playing with a big desktop computer at the house. And then, 10, getting my first Facebook account. And from there, I've been online so much. Yes, I've built a personality out of it, but if you become so addicted to being online, it's a question of who am I actually if I didn't have my phone, if I wasn't online this whole time, who am I actually? And I know that's a question not that I'm not the only one struggling with the question, right? A lot of people are, because we can feel that, oh, we're being so addicted online. We've only known the internet for so long. Who am I beyond that? Who am I beyond trends? Who am I follow beyond my overconsumption of media, overconsumption of content? Who am I beyond that? So this next 5 years, it's really, I know for me, it's going to be a journey in understanding who I am beyond that. So yeah, that's the main thing. And I'm someone who, I'll say it right now, like, I don't like to necessarily stay in one thing too long because life is short, but it's also the longest thing we'll go through. So I want it to be a nice adventure. So
Nice.
I know I'm not just defined by just one role. Yes, Arissa, right now, I am an AI trainer. I know I can be so many more things beyond that. So it's not just going to be one role, right? I can always pivot, just like the pivot,
Yes.
always pivot because, you know, the good thing is that I've pivoted before. So I know that, okay, in the future, I can pivot again. Pivoted the first time when I thought that in my undergraduate degree, oh, I wanted to do actuarial science. Turns out I'm not that interested in finance. That's something I had to learn about myself. So I pivoted to data science and I enjoyed that. Then worked in fintech for a bit. Then I thought, okay, this isn't what I want. I want to pivot into AI, which is related to data science. So pivoted there. Now it's okay, I have AI knowledge. Let's go into education. Let's merge those two. And then, yeah, I guess that's in many ways where the idea for the app came from because, oh, let's utilize AI and education. Now let's do for the field of, early childhood education. And I'm gaining those insights from my sister who is in that field. So pivoting slightly into there, maybe it's not a full pivot, but it's at least a bit of a turn, right? So AI education, now not just for adults, just for kids. So yeah, it's all about trying new, different things and having fun with the journey and seeing where we go from there.
So, Arissa, would you say that, all the different fields that you have gone through,
Mm.
do you use it in like in other fields as well? Like, whatever that you've
Mm.
learned previously, it's not wasted. you
Yes,
still can use it in another field. So
yes,
how
100%.
how would you advise the young people to go out and try like what you've been doing? Maybe you would
Mm.
just um give your nuggets of wisdom to these young people, you know?
100% is to state that nothing that I've learned before is wasted, right? I'm grateful to have had a lot of successes. But I've also had a lot of failures, and some failures, they took a toll on me. But that's okay, because I know that, even when I was in a way down in the dumps during those failures, I know that this is temporary. I still knew that this is temporary. We'll just have to work through these emotions or work through these thoughts through this period of time. It's going to be tough, but you will come out, and you'll come out stronger. So yeah, that's number one. Number two is everything I've done before, does it help me now? Yes. In the sense that, even though I didn't go through 3 years of degree for actuarial science, even that 1 year, I learned enough financial mathematics that I'm like, okay, I understand how these things are being calculated now. These loans, stocks, bonds, interest are calculated now. From data science, yeah, of course, a lot in my day to day, in not just what I teach students, but in also understanding how different statistical numbers come up with. I did a short stint at a fintech company, being the marketing girly there. That's why now I can do a lot of the different Canva posters and presentations, know how to use Canva well, and knowing how to make, understanding better how to create a good poster and all. And I wouldn't know that if I didn't get exposure in that fintech role. So all these different things really do help. And putting yourself out there, being not afraid to try these different things, is going to be the biggest differentiator for, any young person out there. So the great thing is about the world that we live in now is that we don't have to be, just static following one path, one field, right? If I know from my parents' generations, it was, doctor, lawyer, or engineer. If you wanted to be a photographer, then they'll be like, no, don't do that. You won't get money. But yeah, now we can see that the internet and AI has made things has democratized a lot of things, a lot of different fields. But even then, I can see that many young people aren't really trying because they're scared to maybe be seen, or most importantly, scared to be judged by others.
Yes,
Especially
yes,
now, if anyone can
please
just whip
advise.
up your phone, and take a video of you when you're doing something, you may not be doing something bad, but you can just be waiting across the street looking sad. Someone can take a video of you, post it on TikTok, then suddenly you're known by everyone, right? Something like that can happen, right? People are too normalized with putting their phones in other people's faces. So yeah, I understand
What do you
being
mean?
scared. Yeah, no, people will record everything. They'll threaten to report police, Like, I understand. That's why, we're being a lot more, in that way, we're being conservative. Many people don't want to put themselves out there, afraid of being exposed, seen, judged by others. But I think we have to understand that, especially if the intentions are good, you're doing it for the right thing, exposure can be a very, very good thing, right? It was through exposure to always, joining different clubs for me, for being at the right place at the right time. So yeah, okay, wait, let me rephrase that. It was through exposure of many different things, trying new things, putting myself out there. And one day you'll find yourself at the right place at the right time, where opportunities that you wouldn't even have thought of, like, would appear to you because the right person saw it at the right time, because you've built up that portfolio of, maybe good word of mouth for yourself, or good posts for yourself. Sometimes the right person will find you. But if not, you can create opportunities for yourself. Hey, you asked me in January that if I would have known that I would have won a hackathon and joined this podcast right now, I would have said no. Like, bro, what are you talking about, right? But putting yourself out there, for me, it was joining different AI groups, connecting with many people, then hey, let's join this contest for fun. If we win, okay. If I don't win, it's okay. But yeah, actually joining the contest and then, trying my best, then won and then got onto this, getting opportunity, working with my readers, getting on this podcast. These opportunities open yourself up when you do try, when you put yourself out there and actually try. So fear of failure is scary. I understand. I have that too. But how to say it? I think for me, it's really a tool of the more I feel, the more that, okay, now I know what works and doesn't work. Let's pick ourselves back up together. So a fear of rejection is understandable. It's scary, but rejection is a very big part of life. It's how we deal with it. That's important. It's going to happen anyway. How are you going to bring yourself up from there?
It's trainable.
Yes, I think
Trainable to how to say, to be fearless, to be
that's a
positive.
good question. I do think so, yes. So a positive mindset is very important. So I would say maybe if you ask me, maybe I'm someone who has a more realistic or some even might say pessimistic mindset. Some people might say. But I think it's actually possible to train to have a positive mindset. So my sister, my early childhood education sister, so she teaches, she's handling kids from 0 to 2 years old right now. She says every single day she plays for them the affirmation song by Snoop Dogg. So Snoop Dogg has Snoop Dogg created this album for kids. So it starts sort of like affirmations are positive words that we say to ourselves or something. And the chorus goes, there is no one better to be than myself. So then the kids sing that. There is no one better to be than myself. Yeah. Today is going to be an amazing day. Yeah. So she's building them that positive mindset into them, that's something she repeats that every day. So that's something they'll internalize every day. So they also listen to songs like, I love my body from my head to my toe. I love my face, my eyes, my mouth, my nose. So even if they don't understand, they'll internalize those words. So yes, I think it's possible. Yes, well, for me personally, sometimes I think affirmations are a bit wee, woo, woo, wah, wah like that, but they have a place. They're important. They change your mindset. I'm understanding that now. See the Snoop Dogg song every day at work. Yeah.
Have you played that for your kids before?
For my students before, no, but I play that for myself now. Especially if I'm like, I don't feel that good, then I play that and I'm like, okay, no, today's gonna be an amazing day. Like there's no one better to be than myself. Just because words really affect our mindset, right? That's why we tell ourselves, you cannot tell yourself bad words. You don't say to yourself like, oh, I'm stupid or I'm worthless. No, because even if it's not true, you'll intern. So let's change that mindset. Let's make it into positive words instead.
Just thinking how. Thank you for sharing your wisdom on how to, advise the kids on how to be fearless and how to train yourself to just put yourself out there. I think it's so important nowadays, especially with AI.
Yes.
Everybody's out there, and how are you going to differentiate yourself, like make yourself stand out?
Yep, very true.
So I guess we shall go to the lightning round now.
Okay.
Okay, so lightning round is basically we will ask questions and you just
Okay.
give answers like what's on your mind right away. So it's okay. So the first question: one book, podcast, or resource that has shaped how you think about work.
How I think about work. That's a very, very good question. Oh my God. I actually don't have an answer to this. Okay. Book, podcast, or resource. I would say on working on myself and having good habits. Personally for me, I do like Atomic Habits. I can't remember the author's name right now, but I do like Atomic Habits. Sometimes, at least once a year, I'll either read the book or I will listen to it as an audiobook. I find the audiobook on YouTube and listen to it on the way to work. So it's just, to keep it as a reminder how to have good habits and not slink into bad habits again.
Nice. Okay. The second question: if you had to describe your personal career journey in 3 words, what would they be? and why?
Personal career journey in 3 words and why? I would say they are twists and turns. Okay? Twists and turns in the sense where I don't want to box myself into just one set journey, one set pathway for the rest of my life. I know that I'm changing every day. I'm evolving every day. So it's okay if my career path, in a way, changes and evolves as well. Because as I learn new things, I will discover new things about myself, gain new skills, and I know that will reflect in my work as well. Okay.
Okay, one last question, yeah? This is a
Yes.
fun one. If you could try any job for one day, what would it be?
Oh, I love that question. That's a good question. Oh my God. You know what?
So
Okay.
many.
I would love to go back in time to 2007. I was only 7 years old then, but I would like to be an adult in 2007, working as a cast member of Mamma Mia, the movie. Why? Because
Oh,
Mamma Mia is my favorite movie in the entire world. And whenever I look at pictures of the main actors on that cast, they're either smiling all the time because I think they're a bit drunk all the time. They're having the time of their lives. Even, the extras are like doing lots of dances. I like having parties all the time. I would love to be there at that moment in time. So travel back in time to be a cast member on Mamma Mia, the movie, in 2007. So I can have fun and dance and sing ABBA with everyone as well.
nice. Interesting. I've watched it.
My mom introduced me to Mamma Mia, the movie, I think when I was like 8, when it came out. Mamma Mia. I like musicals too, but Mamma Mia, first love. I love the energy of that film.
So was that the first musical that you watched?
I think so. If you don't count High School Musical and Disney movies, then yes, that's the first musical I watched.
Okay. Okay, I think that's the end of the podcast. So thank you very much, Arissa. We enjoy talking to you and listening to your stories, everything that you've shared. It was just eye-opening. It was so fun talking to you.
And thank you so much, Nancy and John. I have really, really enjoyed talking to you both as well. I would say this is a very fulfilling a podcast session between the three of us. I really enjoyed chatting with you both.
And I'm looking forward to your ad.
Yes, Nancy, if you want to message me every day, every week also, that would be good, as that would really kick my butt. Like, oh my God, I cannot disappoint Nancy. Nancy's going to be messaging me every week. I have to show her something. No, that will help me. I'm telling you, that would help me.
If you like, if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Okay,
I'm
let's go.
happy to do it. I'm happy to do it.
John, you're our witness. You're our witness. You can ask Nancy also what is Arissa's progress. Sure.
Thanks for tuning in to the PivotLab Podcast. We hope today's story gave you both inspiration and insight, something you can carry into your own next move. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and follow us on Instagram and Substack for the latest episodes, content, and tools to help you design what's next. And if you know someone who could benefit from this, share the love. Most importantly, let's stay connected. We've got more stories, strategies, and blueprints coming your way. Until next time, keep going. Your next chapter is already unfolding.